Hello again, everyone, for listening to this presentation. It's pre-recorded presentation before it actually will be shown on the PGR conference in 2024. So I've decided to pre-record it. I have quite limited time, about 10 minutes, so I've put my timer, see if I can get it in a 10 minutes time as well. And it's for the early birds who want to see the official one. It's probably November time. So it's my PhD research. It's the current state of art. It's not finalized yet, but it's kind of going on for last year or two. So the topic is about effect of managerial culture intelligence and effect of diversity inclusion, mostly on cross-culture interaction, and mostly the manager when it's managing diverse team. Now, managing diverse teams mean multicultural team or neurodivergent team of engineers in mostly remote or hybrid environment. Now, it could be multicultural or neurodivergent or both of them or mixture of one of them. So we will start from a bit of introduction, what I actually going to talk about. So first, probably a bit of glimpse of what is meant by multicultural. Multicultural mean is person who is born in one country and then move to another country to live for a long time. Sometimes take 1 year, sometimes take 2 years, but it's definitely not some sort of 2 weeks of relocation and then going back home. So it's quite lengthy relocation. So by that means, so it's could move different countries and could move back home, but it still can call as himself multicultural. Mostly because its culture intelligence is changes. Now, what does it mean? Culture intelligence? Culture intelligence means is when the person is relocate or move somewhere else to another subset of culture. It depends what the culture is, but depend on his culture intelligence, and it's defined by Christopher Early in 2003. So depend on his culture intelligence, whether it's high, whether low, whether middle, it can actually better integrate in the new cultural society. Now, it doesn't mean it's be as normal person who ever born in the same cultural environment, but his ability to integrate better and to accept the new culture is measured by culture intelligence. Now, the culture intelligence changes all the time, so depend how many countries person moved, it can actually increase his culture intelligence by accepting more cultures in his mind. So more culture is better, but it not necessarily differentiate his culture intelligence. Now, neurodivergent team is dyslexic, autistic, ADHD, is people who have different ability to communicate and different environmental impact of how they actually can work in environment. So why I join both of this together? Because engineering team sometimes very mixed team. Sometimes the person can be multicultural, like relocated to Asia or born in Asia or born in China and then moved back to Great Britain or America. And then his cultural subset is a bit different and he still works in engineering team. And this, but his language might be not very best. For example, if everyone talk English, it's not very best of might be very best in English. But his perception to understand what he need to do or how he react on the language, it's different from the people who is born in Great Britain, for example, or in America. Now the same complexities apply to the neurodivergent person who, for example, autistic or dyslexic and very hard in reading or very hard in communicating with people. So working remotely not necessarily bad things for those people. Working remote might be best for those people because they need less communication things with other society and some voices or some colors are not distracting them from making their job. But the communication is very much important. So the work is not about those people. The work is, the research work is about the manager who managing those people and what the manager have to manage them better. Now, why I'm putting, for example, agile IT development. Agile IT development means we can change tasks quite rapidly. For example, customer can get with a new subset of the requirement, and because engineering team work in agile environment, it can say, okay, now we just change whatever we done today, we're going to do something else, like bug fix, for example. So everyone work on something else. Some people, like neurodivergent, for example, just can switch over to different tasks and swap over for the task. So the manager must understand these complexities. The same apply for multicultural, who works for lengthy time for one task, and manager communicate not perfectly well and say not in the right approach how to change the task, and why the person from different cultural subset must change what he is doing. So the point is, when the PM is project manager can actually communicate well with all people in office, it's very hard. It's not the same communication skill this manager need to have when he's manage remote team, especially when the remote team is multicultural or neurodivergent. Now here is quite more interesting point of the next slide. For example, on the right side you see the picture of complex infrastructure where the diversity, multicultural and neurodivergent have intersection, and this might be just one person, where it is diversity person and it is multicultural and it is neurodivergent as well. So it's quite more complex perception of one personality, but there might be just two or one of these skills. Now here we're coming to the paradox theory, paradox frame versus paradox mind. Paradox theory means we can actually create much better and innovate when we in tight rules. For example, we need to make the quality product, but we don't have enough time, or we don't have enough money to make the product or feature. It does mean how we can create the quality product with having very limited resources. It doesn't work like this. But here is apply paradox. When the team works in this mode, it does create the good quality product just because the rules are tight. It's not necessarily work well, because to make it work, manager must to have paradoxical mind. He need to understand this complexity and need to know how to manage those people effectively. Now, paradoxical frame is the different things. It's like multicultural team. If you manage multicultural team, you jump immediately to paradoxical frame, because different multiculturals, like for example, if we take about Hofstede theories, and one is from individualistic society like Great Britain, with very low power, with low power, and second person from, for example, Asia, where is this collectivistic society with high power. Both people very hardly communicate. The ability of not communicating well and make different crisis society or different critical point of how they actually can manage themselves creates this paradoxical frame. So multicultural teams and neurodivergent teams, they're already paradoxical frames. They can work together effectively, but someone need to communicate and someone need to manage them effectively so they can produce better performance. And here is paradoxical theory. Now, cross-cultural interactions. This actually very tight, very well with cross-cultural interaction, as you see, and MSNT is neurodivergent team management. So so here we go. You can probably read about diversity, how it's good, and what it's bring to our society. But because we're quite tight with the time, I go into my jump to research objective. One of my research objectives is how inclusive management influence work performance on diverse team of engineers. And another one is what managerial culture intelligence spark on cross-cultural interaction in diverse team of engineers. When manager rapidly makes task changes or context switching, is exactly what I was telling a couple of slides ago. And I want to connect IT company financial impact if the manager is failed to actually adequately include everyone in the team. I'm going to use different method of variables. It's mostly statistical approach. It's measuring and not interviewing people in the team. It's mostly measuring and making some questionnaire from the managers. So we're going to include different type of statistics like culture intelligence, diversity inclusion, company profitability, and work performance of the team. I'm going to use positivistic approach, which is more realistic approach about can I get my conclusion based on statistical information I can gather from the team management. And it's highly likely will be implemented multi-method quantitative study with different quantitative data analysis. Now, the data sampling is quite varied because I can have a candidate who is project manager, team lead, CTO, CEO, VP R&D, who can manage the team or manage the manager who manages the team. So it does kind of include all things together, and diverse team, managing diverse team like multicultural or neurodivergent or vice versa, or just one of them is enough as well. Now, I do agree that I do have some limitation, for example, because any IT company in the world can give me data to process, but it doesn't mean I can apply the same hypothesis and say, okay, here's the data, I can come up with the results, but this is applied to any other thousand of companies, because we do have like numerous amount of IT companies, and all of them are different, and all of them can manage differently in different type of the world. And at the beginning of my journey, its ambiguity is bit of things here, because the causal direction I currently chosen to use hybrid environment, remote environment, neurodivergent, multicultural, and diversities. So it's quite a lot to get included. So it might be a change of direction over my course of research. So I hope you enjoyed my short presentation. It's about 12 minutes, so I quite tightly get to the time I needed to get. So send me any questions or anything you want to ask. I will be happy to answer. Thank you very much.